One of India's most celebrated long jump coaches is joining us on this very special chat on NNI Sports Freestyle, Mr. TP Youssef. And he has trained Olympians Bobby Aloysius, Jinsey Philip, Anju George, and Lekha Thomas, some of the most celebrated names in the long jump. And his contribution has been immense over a period of more than 4 decades. He's a Dronacharya awardee. Mr. Youssef, thank you very much for joining us. My first question to you would be on what is happening at Budapest, which is that Jeswin Aldrin somehow qualifies for the long jump final at 8 meters only, while the qualification mark was 8.15 meters, and the other star athlete, Murli Srishankar, fails to qualify. What could be the reasons? What are your thoughts?
In my opinion, I don't know about the high-level physical fitness of Mr. Srishankar. What I could understand is he is in good shape. What I feel is he was expecting a medal in the meet as per his previous performances and all, But that chance of winning a medal definitely made him to what you call have a sort of panic, and he may be mentally and also mentally he may be a little bit down, because of what you call high level competition, and that might have affected his performance. And also what I feel is he might have not undergone what you call training on such a track, the track, Modo's track and field track, it is something newly constructed and which gives very good what you call rhythm and what you call good stride length, the uniformity of the stride length and things like that.
You're speaking about the lack of mental toughness. It's a pretty strong point that you're making. But with your years of coaching and your expertise, that is a point that the current coaching system needs to think about. What I want to know from you is that when so much has been invested by the government, by the federation on training these athletes, obviously they would have thought about making them mentally tough, training them to go into situations like what they're doing at Budapest. But why is there still, this lack of preparation? I mean, that's the only word that is coming to my mind. So if you had to train these two athletes on mental toughness, what would you do?
See, one thing I tell you, the role of a good sports psychologist is a must, simply selecting somebody who has undergone and got a degree in sports psychology will not work out. The people, those who are accompanying, supporting staff as a sports psychologist must have sports background as well as dealing such people for a long of time.
Also, are you happy with the level of exposure that these athletes are getting? I mean, do you feel that over and above their training in India and playing at the national level, when they compete overseas, there still seems to be a big gap?
See, one thing I tell you, what I could understand is that nowadays AFI has given sufficient, international exposure for these people. That's what I could understand. But the thing is, in my opinion, having a sports psychologist, having so much experience, and also a coach who can be an authoritarian about giving right mental toughness instruction might have helped them a lot. That's what I could understand.
Srishankar, in the attempts that he made at Budapest, his timings were 7.74 meters, then 7.66, and then a very poor 6.60 meters. And like we were saying earlier, that Jeswin had only one good jump, and he could somehow land 8 meters, and by the skin of his teeth has been able to get into the final. And then when you look at the effort of the record of Jamaica's Wayne Pinnock, who is the group leader, so his timing is 8.54 meters. So Sir, there is a huge gap between what our long jumpers are doing and what the world's best are doing. How do we close that gap?
See, one thing I tell you, I have seen these fellows, that the fellow who jumped 8.54, his physics is fantastic physics. He is a very, what you call, very powerful. His body language is very good, and he has got a sense of good confidence and things like that. Whereas what I could see from the face of our jumpers, they are a bit panic and things like that. I think to a certain extent, the genes might have helped a lot for the Jamaican people and other people. Look at the body structure of the athletes. What I feel is uh, they are genetically highly, what you call, explosive. That's also one of the factors. And other things, I already mentioned about their mental attitude. Look at the face of those people. Those people, our athletes are looking very fearful and very, what you call, panic type movement. The way they do the approach run, the initial acceleration and the body alignment and attacking face and all, as if they don't have any strength in their body.
Okay, let's talk about Shelly Singh. Now, she has been trained in the academy, which has been started by your own celebrated pupil, Anju Bobby George, and she has been coached by her husband, who runs the academy. And but even she has not been able to qualify at Budapest, point one. And the second thing is that Anju Bobby George's time of 6.83 meters has still not been bettered after so many years have gone by. So, what is your advice to very young athletes like Shelly Singh? What should they do?
See, Shaili Singh's performance, I don't blame anything to, I don't blame anybody, because she being a very young athlete, having only 19 years age, and that too participating along with such a world famous athletes, Novana and all, and it's all Ivan and all, it is a really tough. And though her personal best is 6.76, in my opinion, her average performance is around 665, like that only. So going down 20-25 centimeters is not that much, uh, not be that much criticized, because she's a very young girl. And what I could understand, the way she's being trained is not that bad. That is what I feel.
Right. Mr. Youssef, you began training these athletes at a time when there was not even internet. In fact, Anju Bobby George and Bobby Aloysius, they have given comments and interviews really praising you for that time, where you would come in with books, you would read about books, you introduced the Fosbury Flop in India. So let's talk about those times, and what were your thoughts then while training these athletes? How did you prepare them so that they could reach that level, which even now, currently, these modern athletes are finding it so hard?
The thing is, those days, the athletes were having natural health, and moreover, they came to the field, with what I call, with a very good aim. They had a very good goal, and they were not thinking about any other thing other than focusing in the field of athletics. And moreover, those people are having integrity, values, and what you call, character also. Nowadays, in the modern world, the focusing in a particular event, and also having a sportsman-like habit and character and all, very rarely you find, and moreover, those people, those athletes were very obedient. Whatever the coach and the man and the what I call physical education teacher of that particular institution tell, they used to follow. Nowadays, that much dedication is not there. Moreover, uh, the coaches part also plays very important. Nowadays, the coaches, most of the coaches, they do coaching just for the sake of salary and things like that. Most of the coaches. When I say this thing, many people will criticize me, but I don't care about those things. When I entered as a coach, it was my burning desire to at least produce an athlete who can win a medal in the Olympics. Those times, I was not having any internet or anything that sort, but I used to contact with my friends who were abroad, especially in America, and bring cassette, and I used to show them those things. And also, I used to take theory classes also. Those days, the theory classes, I was not that much expert, but I used to consult with the concerned people who know biomechanics, as well as sports psychology, things like that. That type of coaches are also not available. That type of athletes are also not available.
Let's speak about the Fosbury Flop, and for our viewers, sir, kindly explain how you brought in the Fosbury Flop and its importance in the long jump, because you've been praised a lot by one of your own trainees, Bobby Aloysius, who says that I won the Asian medal through Uzef sir's efforts, not because I went to a foreign country to train. He has vast knowledge in the high jump. He took it to a new level in our country. So let's talk about the Fosbury Flop.
Actually, Fosbury Flop, the event itself is a very glamorous event. To see an athlete jumping over the bar and landing on back and all, it was an exciting moment. So what I thought, as it is not trained in India, might have been going on training anywhere, but in my knowledge, I did not find anywhere such things are going on. So it was my burning desire to involve in that event, and bring one of my others to an international level, and for which the Department of Physical Education of the college in which I was working and the Bobby was working, they were encouraging, they were motivating, they were management was what you call a source of inspiration. And that's the reason why it's not my own effort. It is a combined effort of the college as well as the to a certain extent Kerala Athletic Association office bearers. And one thing I tell you, see, it is who doesn't like appreciation, who doesn't like good satisfaction. It is to have a very good appreciation, and also to have mental satisfaction. Those days we were working for such things. Nowadays the people are going after money. They ask how much I can get if I do this much, things like that. So the mental attitude and the focusing of the athletes are lagging a lot as compared to the previous people.
As a coach, as one of the most celebrated coaches India has ever produced, you were given the Dronacharya Award, which is a massive recognition. And as a coach, you would also understand the importance of consistency. Now, in the javelin, we have had Neeraj Chopra doing wonders, but there is another point about him, which is that he has been very, very consistent. So, taking that as an example, what kind of message would you like to give to our athletes where consistency is concerned?
See, what you said is correct. I used to show the training program of Chopra to my athletes. I used to tell, look at this movement, look at this what I call focusing, look at his burning desire to win, and I used to show his training, training activities to my athletes, so that they will get a sort of inspiration and get motivated. The thing is, I know to a certain extent personally Chopra, but I never seen such a dedicated and explosive and well-mannered person having very good what do you call humility and respect to others.
Right. You have said in a interview, one of your recent interviews, that your goal was to make sure that one of your trainees is able to perform at the Paris Olympics 2024. What do you have to say about that goal? Who are you training now?
Actually, actually, of course, I had such a dream. The thing is, I used to what do you call give suggestions to the sports authorities, at least construct one or two what do you call indoor training hall for jumping events. Nowadays, most of the countries they have indoor training stadiums. We need not have indoor stadiums. We need to have indoor halls so that you can focus very nicely during all season also, winter season also, hot season also, and for which to have a training. I mean facility like that. You need not spend not so much money. Now to construct a stadium, you need to have more than 20-30 crores of rupees. So the only alternative is to produce an athlete who can win a medal in the Olympics, and let us have many indoor halls and select the coaches, those who are interested to work, and also select the people those who have got highly potentiality, not that taking certain people because of the recommendation of certain superior people or ministers, the political level. Definitely, India is too good, especially the South Indians are very good, very talented in jumping events. So the immediate step the government supposed to take is to have many indoor halls, not only for long jumping events, even for what you call high jump, shot put, even sprint also. We are not having such facilities. That is very much pinching me. I'm very much worried nowadays under the adverse climatic condition to do systematic training in India is very difficult.
Right, sir. So before we wind up, my last question to you would be that India seems to be disappointed with the performance of its athletes in Budapest. There is a big gap between how we perform in India and maybe even at the Asian Games, we land a lot of medals. But the Budapest World Athletics Championships has been a wake-up call. Then the Olympics is next year. What is your message for athletes, not just long jumpers, for the young athletes of India when they go to a much bigger stage, a huge international stage? How should they cope and what should they do?
See, how can I give message to athletes? Because they are having a lot of problems. Their problems are not seriously looked into it by the authorities concerned. It is a pity thing. In our state, Kerala itself, you see the people those international athletes are not given any job or anything. That's what they are now making. Particularly, they are protesting in front of secretariat, things like that. And moreover, see nowadays the modern family is a nucleus family having one or two uh, children, and they wanted to have good security, education, things like that, So unless there is return and recognition from the authorities, very rare people will enter into this field, So how can I give a message to my athletes? They say, see, sir, even if I win a medal in the international level of competition, we don't get even a job in Kerala, things like that. Of course, the South Indians are, and North India, it is not like that. They give very, very, very good motivation, and their welfare is looked into it, and that's the reason why nowadays, state like Haryana, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu are coming up. So unless the adults are given nowadays, they go for what can I get if I become a good athlete. What is such attitude is the existing in our country. So for me, under such situation, the field is not the field is not given any care and attention by the government authorities concerned. How can I motivate the athletes? It is a tough question. I'm unaware of such things.
Mr. TP Joseph, thank you very, very much for your time, and your message would be broadcast through NNI Sports. We will go on to social media, and some of the points that you made for our young athletes would be taken care of. Again, we thank you and our viewers for watching.
Thank you. Thank you very much.